Now, you have no interest in this case? Not a bit, no. Do you know the plaintiff? I never saw the man before. You say you went back to see the plaintiff in the hospital? Yes. How many days after? 4 or 5 days after. Did you find him in bed or up or about? He was in bed. That was 4 days after the accident? About 4 days, I imagine. Did you ask him at that time if he had turned the case over to a lawyer? No, sir. You did not know whether he had started a suit? I wasn't interested in that. You testified in the traffic court, did you not? Yes, sir. That was how soon after the accident? Shortly? Yes, sir. Was your recollection of what happened better at that time than today? About the same. Do I understand that you did not see Mr. Smith at any time before he was struck? Yes. Did you notice what part of the taxicab struck him? Yes, sir, the left side of the front bumper. Where were you at the time you say you saw it? I was about 25 feet behind him. Were you exactly behind him, or a little to his left or to his right? I was a little to his left. Didn't you see the plaintiff walking or running or standing still at any time before he was struck? No, I did not. Was the street light there? I just saw the taxicab hit him just about one step from the taxicab when it hit him. And you saw him make one step? That is all I saw. I saw the taxicab hit him, and I didn't see him any more. And you say he was hit by the front left bumper at the taxicab? He was hit with the front bumper, I imagine. It seemed like that to me. And when you saw him hit you, you say you then heard the brakes applied? Yes, sir. Only at the moment when you saw him hit, when you heard the brakes applied, I saw the machine slow up at the time. The moment he hit him, and then he must have gone at least 50 feet or so before the car came to a standstill. In other words, from the moment you saw the man struck, and when you heard the brakes immediately applied, up to the time you saw the taxicab stop, it went a distance of about 50 feet? More than that. Did you test the brakes in that taxicab? I did not. Did it occur to you to have the brakes of an automobile which you say went 50 feet? The brakes were applied, tested? Yes, the brakes were all right, but I figured the defendant wanted to get away. How do you know the brakes were all right? Because I could see the marks on the street where he jammed on his brakes and you could see the streak. And that is why you say the brakes were all right? The brakes were all right. Is that why you did not test the brakes? No, we test them by riding and jamming on the brakes to see whether they hold. You did not have any reason to believe in this case that there was anything wrong with the brakes? No, sir. Except for the fact that you saw this car go 50 feet from the time you saw the man struck? I believe at the time this fellow was trying to get away. But you heard the noise of the brakes going this 50 feet and then it stopped. I heard the jamming on of the brakes at the time when it hit the man. From the time he jammed on his brake, did the car come to a gradual stop? He jammed on his brakes, and the car went about 50 feet and came to a stop around 50 or 60 feet. Tell me this, at the time the man was struck, and when you say you heard the brakes applied, the car slowed up a little bit, didn't it? Yes, and it kept on going slower and slower until the car went 50 feet and then it stopped entirely? Yes, in other words, it came to a gradual stop? Yes, sir. Did I understand you to say his car was running away from the scene of the accident? Yes, he was. Did you tell anything to the police officer about that? No, he was not handling that part of it. Did you make any charge against him for running away from the scene of the accident? No, I did not. When was the first time you ever claimed or said this man was running away from the scene of the accident? At that time, I accused him right there. Did you take any police action about it? Yes, I locked him up for assault. Did you do anything about his running away from the scene of the accident? No, not exactly. Have you spoken this case over with anybody? No, sir. Have you spoken with Mr. Jones, the attorney in this case? No, sir. Have you spoken to Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown came to the office and gave me a subpoena and asked me what I knew about the case. Did you tell him exactly what you have told the jury here? Mr. Brown asked me certain questions about the case. Did I see it? Where it happened, and when I was doing what I was doing over there, and I told him about the case. Did you tell him the car was running away from the scene of the accident? No, I did not.